So what's up guys, welcome to in Cars, and today we will see how to modify a fuel tank from an EF Civic to fit an all-wheel drive differential. So here's a side-by-side comparison of the fuel tank that I'm currently modifying and a stock fuel tank. So this is a stock fuel tank coming from a 4th gen Honda Civic, so we usually call them EFs, but here in Europe the exact name is EC9 because they are carbureted. They don't have the electrical fuel pump that we can find here on the fuel injected variant. They just have the fuel level sender in the middle of the tank, and this one will be moved to here because obviously when you will chop off the center of the fuel tank, the fuel sender will not be able to reach the bottom of the tank. So as you can see, I went ahead and blocked it from the fuel tank that I'm modifying, and as you can see, we have a big hole, so we can have the drive shaft coming from the gearbox going to the differential that will be here. Another thing to mention is the rear hump of the fuel tank. So this part of the fuel tank is nearly let's say 3 centimeters to the support of the rear suspension. So you will need to chop off all this part, about 10 centimeters, as you can see. I've lined up the fuel tank, so let's see. We have exactly 10 centimeters. So you will need to cut 10 centimeters of the fuel tank. So the CV axles coming out of the differential will have enough place to work, swivel and everything. As you can see also on the modified fuel tank, I went ahead and cut a hole so I can fit the fuel level sender here. It's important to mention that my fuel pump is external, so I put it here around the driver's side of the car, but outside of the fuel tank. Something else very important is because you don't have communication between the two sides of the fuel tank, you will need to put like a fitting at the bottom of each side and connect it, so you will have the same level between the two sides of the fuel tank. Another thing that I will do on my fuel tank, but you don't need to do it if you want, but really advise you to do it if you run like a bar that's supporting your differential, is making this side of the fuel tank at the same level of this side of the fuel tank, because you see on the original one, on the stock one, you have a hump at the right of the location of the fuel pump. So you have the two sides of the fuel tank at the same level, so you can run the supporting bar of some of the kits on the market. So let's measure the opening for the differential. So we have 25 centimeters, so about 10 inches. In depth, we have the same, 25 centimeters, so again 10 inches. And after that, so you can let's say optimize the fuel quantity you can put on the fuel tank. You have this taper here, and the effective size of the tunnel here is, sorry for the noise, we have 15 centimeters. Yes, so 15 centimeters all the way to the front of the fuel tank. The height will be 11.5 to 12 centimeters, depending on the position of your drive shaft. And here you can see it's completely open. So I did that so I can swap or lower the fuel tank for any reason without the need to remove the differential, the drive shaft, the CV axle and shaft, but you would need to remove the drive shaft. But that's it. So it's for convenience purposes. And even you see a big gaping hole here, it will only remove like 2 or 3 liters from the fuel tank, which equates to about 1 gallon. So not a very big deal. So that's for the measurement. Another thing to bear in mind is that you will have 2 separated points where you can have airlocks in the fuel tank. So you will have to put some tubing inside, like in the stock one, so you can vent the air that's trapped here during the filling of the fuel tank. So the level will be able to rise to the top. So here and here. So you will need to put a line here, a T somewhere, and join it to the stock point for the vent. So that's that. Inside the fuel tank, so you have the filling neck here. So it will be in direct contact, let's say, with the side of the tunnel here. So sometimes you will have like clicking on the filling station. So you will need to make like an elbow, a 90-degree elbow, so you can fill this part of the fuel tank, and when this part is full, it will overflow to the side and fill the entire fuel tank, let's say smoothly, so you don't have the clicking sound of the filling station. For the baffles, so the original fuel tank uses like a plate here as a baffle. So I went and cut it in half, and I kept it on both sides. For the let's say output of the fuel tank, in the stock fuel tank, it's in the middle. So I moved it from here to here for obvious reasons. And the return is also in the same place. So when the fuel returns, it returns in the same place, so that this side of the fuel tank has always enough fuel to send to the engine. So at the bottom, it looks like this. So again, you have the tunnel for the shaft. You have the support of the fuel tank are on this rail, and the support from the other side are on this rail. So, oops, we can measure the distance. So, just bear in mind, this is the passenger side and this is the driver side. So, from the support of the driver side, you will need 6 centimeters and cut. And from the passenger side, you need 2 centimeters and cut, and the taper here and the tunnel. So let's get to work and see the results. So I hope the video has been useful to some of you. If you like, share and subscribe. You can, if you're a French speaker, you can go to my other channel here, and let's go to work.